July 12th brings an amazing moment of truth and clarification for your whole family. This opens the door to timelines that extend past 2032 all the way to 2047. These are long timelines of relationships and love, and the Cazimi itself, the conjunction of Mercury and the Sun, brings attention to what is most important. Mercury retrograde in Cancer this year is an unbelievably lucky transit. It clarifies outstanding issues, brings light to situations, and helps to set your whole family free from misunderstandings and miscommunications. This powerful conjunction is one of the highlights of 2026, and you don't want to miss it. There's a very important transit on July 12th that is super lucky, and it's going to improve situations between you and your family, and it touches upon very large story arcs of love in your life, love and relationships that reach back to about 2019 and will continue to unfold until 2032 and beyond. So we're going to talk about the Mercury Cazimi today, but since we haven't talked about the Mercury retrograde yet, I'd like to go over what the Mercury retrograde is in Cancer, and then I'll talk about the Mercury Cazimi, tell you guys exactly how these timelines work, and then we will do a Lenormand reading. That's why we're horizontal today, so the Lenormand cards can fit on the screen. I've been filming in the vertical option. I kind of like that better personally, but maybe you can tell me how you enjoy watching. Do you like the vertical or do you like the horizontal? Okay, so first let's cover what Mercury retrograde is. Mercury turned retrograde at 26 degrees of Cancer, and it will go back in the chart to 16 degrees of Cancer. So it started somewhere over here and it will retrograde somewhere over here. A retrograde just means that a planet is optically moving backwards in the zodiac chart. It's not actually switching directions or anything. It just appears that way. And in terms of astrology, we consider that to have certain properties. So we're going to talk about that now. But Mercury retrograde began on June 29th, so it's already been happening for a couple weeks, and it will continue until July 23rd. Mercury Cazimi is when Mercury and the Sun join together, so you see that here in the chart at 20 degrees, and that happens in the middle of the cycle, so the midpoint between the start position and the end position. Okay, so what's Mercury retrograde in the sign of Cancer? The sign of the mother, the sign of love and relationships, the sign of family. And I just want to tell you right now, this Mercury retrograde is an example of how wonderful this transit can be. So it's really coming across as a beautiful transit and something that will help you immensely in your life. So the first thing you want to know about Mercury retrograde is that it's connected to your roots. And roots, I mean family, I mean home, wherever home is, whatever you think of as home, even your hometown, whatever you feel so close in your heart. Mercury retrograde can unveil family secrets or work through things like misunderstandings, mishearings, things when people don't really understand what the truth is in a situation and there's some confusion within the family about an issue. Under Mercury retrograde in Cancer, we can have family reconnections. So this means that if there's some estrangement or separation, people can connect. This can be immediate family, partners, all sorts of family connections that have a high chance of reconnecting and reaching out. It's also a great time to figure out problems within the family. So if people don't get along, if they don't understand each other, whatever's going on has a chance of being clarified and fixed. Everybody's more open, more flexible, but it all hinges upon family connection. Under this transit, you might see a shift in responsibilities. So People can take on different responsibilities. Their position in the family with regard to the other people in the family changes and shifts. So this is things like maybe taking care of someone that you didn't take care of before, or if you have extra chores or responsibilities, someone else in your family might take those on. This is a great transit for anybody who's experiencing ancestral trauma. If you come from a background that's been heavily impacted by war or difficult political issues, social issues, under this transit, you and your family members may connect over the history of your ancestors and find healing. And if you don't connect with your family, you can do that by yourself as well in their memory. But the most important thing I think about Mercury retrograde in Cancer is the mother. So whether you are a mother or whether you're thinking about your mother, this is the most important symbol of this transit. Relationship improving with mothers, deepening. I wrote the note in my notes, call your mother, as a message for anybody who's out there who hasn't spoken to their mom for a while. Now, I know that there's lots of people who have difficult relationships with their families. I'm not telling you to go against yourself or what's best for you. I'm just talking to the people with who do have positive relationships with their family. Just a reminder, the importance of the mother. Now, for those of you who have estranged relationships with your families like your mother, and many people do, you don't have to perform any of these acts with them. You can perform them in their name or as symbols for what you actually want. You can find substitute people to fill in those roles and connect with those people as well. So by no means am I asking you or suggesting you should go against something that's good for you, that's not good for you. You should pursue family connections. However, it's important. A lot of people have also lost their parents or other family members, in which case you also want to symbolically engage in this energy. So these things are shifting for you as symbols within you, representations in your own mind. So connect with this energy of family however is appropriate to you. Even pets like cats and dogs are appropriate for this energy to spoil. Show your pets the love that you feel you deserve or you didn't receive from certain people. So definitely, whatever is your family, whatever or whomever you're connected with, make that connection under Mercury retrograde. And you still get the benefit if you don't have a tight connection with your family, or if you're estranged from someone. Sorry, my voice cracked, or if you're estranged from someone, or if you find yourself separated from them for whatever reason. A lot of these things can be like in your mind, ideas or realizations about the truth and the past, and coming to some kind of conclusion or awareness about what happened and how it happened and why. So it can be happening completely within you. So now let's talk about the Cazimi. That's when the sun joins Mercury and creates a conjunction within the heart of the sun. This is the most important part of the Mercury retrograde, and this is what's happening on July 12th. And this is the beautiful moment of awareness. Okay, so Mercury Cazimi happens on July 12th, 2026 at 6:25 p.m., and that's Pacific time. So you want to adjust that for your time zone. And it happens at 20 degrees of Cancer, and we're going to be taking a look at that degree in just a moment to see a very interesting timeline. But here it is, Mercury and the Sun in the same position for a few hours before Mercury moves past the Sun into the morning star position. That's a little bit more advanced astrology for those of you who know what I'm talking about. But just for everybody else, it's just moving to a position in which it will rise before sunrise on the eastern horizon. Very, very beautiful morning star. Okay, so what is the Cazimi about? Well, first of all, it's very auspicious, especially this one. That just means it's very good and it brings a lot of light and truth to situations. Under this conjunction, because it is a conjunction, you may hear messages or announcements. This particular Mercury retrograde is about love and relationships, much more so than other planetary cycles in other zodiac signs. I'll explain why in just a minute. So, a big thing about the Cazimi is that the sun illuminates the full energy of Mercury. Imagine the Earth, Mercury, and here's the sun. So, the Mercury is dead center within the sun. So, from the perspective of the Earth, where we are right now, we can see the full illumination from behind by the sun of Mercury. So, it's kind of like a complete view of the energy of Mercury, which has to do with communication and information. So the sun enlightens us to understand the full implications of communications that we've been having. We get about 6 Cazimis a year, sometimes more. Some of them are when Mercury is retrograde. Some of them happen when Mercury's direct. So this is a fairly common cycle that happens and is a main part of our annual astrology. So because the sun illuminates the time period probably since the last Cazimi, but today we will see how it actually stretches back to timelines even to 2019. The sun illuminates the truth and clarifies a lot of information that might be outstanding. So this can be things like lies, but it can be also misunderstandings, mishearings. You know, when you have misunderstandings with your family, that happens all the time. Under this transit, people's ideas and their belief system is changing also. So the things that they believed once, they no longer believe in. So they can backtrack on positions that they took with their family and open up. It's a very, very healing moment. It's very nice. So Mercury Cazimi is, or retrograde in general, is more about patterns than just relationships. It is about patterns within your relationships, but really focus on patterns and beliefs within yourself. These are fundamentally shifting. What you're willing to accept, what you're willing to believe, what you're willing to talk to other people about, that's all changing. And under this retrograde cycle and the Cazimi, maybe other family members are starting to make sense for you a little bit more, and you're drawn to those people more as opposed to the past other people you've been connected with. So another main thing that can happen under the Cazimi is people can have points of awareness where they realize their position in a situation. This can lead to improvement in relationships, particularly within partnerships. If you and your partner have been at odds or somehow in a standoff or some kind of problem, one or both people could come to the realization and see things from a different perspective, and that can lead to making up and resolving the issue. Also, under the Cazimi, there could be an announcement that your family is about to grow. So everything from announcement of marriage to children can be made around or on July 12th specifically. So people can be telling each other like, hey, I just met someone. I think I'm going to marry them. Or maybe we got engaged, or congratulations, I'm about to be a parent. And then there's other sorts of announcements that announce family change. But specifically under this Cazimi in Cancer, I actually think this will be a positive one. So it's not so much about divorces or separations, but more about coming together, the family growing and expanding. So it's a very beautiful Cazimi. Okay, so let's talk about the timeline, which is July 12th, 13th, and the 14th. There's a lot of astrological stuff going on right now. That's why I've been putting out so many videos. I haven't been around to tell you about it earlier, and I'm just playing catch up. So that's why we're getting so many daily videos, because there's so many things and big things happening. And so that's why I had to put this video as well, because it's very important for people to be aware that this is your golden opportunity. This is your wonderful moment in which you will likely become aware of key information that is going to take you across many years. So we're going to discuss the years that I think are a part of this sequence. And in this case, we're using the degree of the Cazimi, which is 20 degrees of Cancer, because it tells a big story. So the first date that I want to bring your attention to was the full moon on January 3rd of this year. This was a super moon. The moon was out of bounds. So it was very close to the earth. It was big in the sky. It was high up in the sky. These are winter supermoons that are happening right now. Just like we're getting these super new moons in the summertime, we're getting super full moons in the wintertime. So it was a huge out of bounds, makes the energy sort of unhinged and wild. And the moon being close to the earth creates a particular type of emotional and mental intensity. So we had this very powerful full moon on January 3rd, 2026. And Jupiter was actually at the degree of the Cazimi, 21 degrees. So 1 degree difference. Okay. So that's one data point. You can look back to that time to see if that resonates or if something came up for you that this Cazimi clarifies. And because Jupiter is involved in that instant and connecting to the position of the Cazimi off by 1 degree, it's likely something that's very lucky or involving relationships. Okay, so our next data point, because we have a few to get through, is in a few days. So this is in the future. We have a new moon, actually. And this new moon happens to be at 21 degrees of Cancer. So again, the same data point, the same connection. So I would say that Jupiter on the full moon in January connects to both the new moon that we are going to see in a couple days, as well as the Cazimi that we are experiencing now. So this connects with luck, love, and opportunity. Now, there's more complicated or interesting aspects than that. On June 9th of this year, and if you've been watching my channel, we'll see dates really stretch out over years and months. It's really interesting how so many of these dates are so close together. So this tells me that the energy around the Cazimi is very present and very now. So on June 9th, 2026, Jupiter and Venus had their conjunction. This begins a 1-year planetary cycle that concerns itself mostly with love and relationships. So we're getting all these data points of love cycles beginning, and this cycle continues to 2027. So this is going to be affecting the entire year. That conjunction happened at 25 degrees of Cancer. So it's a little bit further off from the Cazimi point, but because it's Jupiter and Jupiter's already activated and Venus is connected throughout this Mercury retrograde as well, I thought it was fair to include it. This means that this planetary cycle from June that we're in right now, from June 2026 until I think it's August 2027, those themes are being illuminated by the Cazimi. So issues concerning love and relationships, they're being clarified, and they're going to help you in the year ahead of becoming closer to the people that you love, your family, your partner, all love and relationships. There's one more date that I want to share with you guys today so as not to overload you. This one's a little bit further off. So this date is really about the future. There is going to be another Jupiter and Venus conjunction in August of 2047, so many years ahead. But if you're thinking about love, family, relationships, this tells me that the connection we're activating now reaches out all the way, in one way or another, to 2047. Through another planetary cycle, a Jupiter-Venus planetary cycle is 1 year. So this conjunction in 2047 will have a planetary cycle to 2048. And we'll touch upon the same themes that we are experiencing now. Okay, it's kind of sunny now, but I'm not going to change the lighting, so excuse me for this being a little messy, but a little sun on a cloudy day is always welcome. So let's take a look at more dates. Okay, so what I could find was that in 2019, there was some significant activity around the position of the Cazimi. This tells me that there was energy initiated here that maybe the Cazimi is now clarifying or building on. So the significant transit involved Mars, Mercury, and the North Node. They formed planetary cycles with each other between 18 to 21 degrees of Cancer, okay? So both Mercury and Mars began a planetary cycle with the North Node. This signals a new beginning or start. So something had begun for you. Mars and Mercury together are really underappreciated in astrology, in my opinion. They create a lot of change in the world, transformation, movement forward. And in 2019, Mars and Mercury had their 3-part planetary reset. If you've been watching my videos, I've mentioned that Mercury and Mars have a specific type of relationship in which they meet every 2 years together, and sometimes they join a couple times, sometimes 3 times. This year they joined together 5 times, and each time they join together, they reset and align our communication, which is Mercury, with our actions, which is Mars. So it's a very powerful reset for all of us. In 2019, the first time they joined together was at 20 degrees of Cancer. Later on, they joined together in Virgo a couple times, and it was a planetary cycle in Virgo. But that first iteration was actually in Cancer. Plus, they joined the North Node, each of them. So for Mars, the planetary cycle in 2019 was 2 years with the North Node. That means topics of new beginnings and initiation was 2 years with Mars and North Node. And Mercury's transit with the North Node is 1 year. So it takes 1 year for Mercury to rejoin the North Node for a new planetary cycle. So this means that between 2019 and 2021, we were experiencing influences from the exact same degree where the Cazimi is happening now. This means that you have had experiences, had conversations back then that are still relevant right now. So you may want to look back to that time in 2019 and see if there's any parallels in communication and the kind of actions that you're willing to choose, or things that are happening around you that are sort of mirroring that time. For Mars and Mercury, this is really about taking a path, okay? Some kind of path in a particular direction. So if you look back to 2019 and you say to yourself, I really took that path, I really went down this direction, this Cazimi might be bringing light to that set of experiences. So that's our foundation, 2019. But there's more, okay? There's 2028. And you guys already know that I'm excited about 2028. I've seen so many patterns pointing to 2028. We just had Mars and Uranus begin a planetary cycle. Their next cycle is in 2028, and I think that's the big one. But let's focus on 2028 and how it connects to our Cazimi on July 12th. In 2028, the planets that are most important are Mars, Venus, and the South Node. So we know that the North Node and South Node are connected, and I think it's very interesting that in 2019 we initiated things. North Node has to do with a lot to do with forward movement, while the South Node has a lot to do with unpacking, releasing, moving on from the past, integrating the past, all those kinds of frequencies. And then we have Mars and Venus. So Mars was present in both iterations. And in 2028, again, we have the theme of love showing up. So in 2028, what happens is that both Mars and Venus will form planetary cycles with the South Node. This will initiate some kind of processing that you are about to experience, release of possibly the last time I did this math, it was wrong. So 9 years. Is it 9 years? Yeah, 9 years. but it's about releasing, processing, and this includes the Cazimi, the one that we're under on July 12th. So Mars and Venus are going to begin cycles with the North Node. The Venus cycle with the North Node will be 1 year. Okay, it's about 11 months, 10 months, depending on the year. And the Mars planetary cycle with the South Node will be 2 years. So in terms of Mars, we're looking at 2028 through 2030. Here's the really cool part. I'm telling you all these details so you see it for yourself and you remember. So something began in 2019. Our words and our actions aligned, and we began a new path moving forward. That's the North Node. Okay. Then we have the Cazimi in 2026, which is slightly over the midpoint of the time frame between 2019 and 2028. And then in 2028, we get release cycles with Mars and Venus activated, Venus between 2028 and 2029, and Mars between 2028 and 2030. These release cycles have to do with releasing things that are no longer helping us on our journey. And just like cleaning creates space for new things to come in, relationships like this type of planetary cycle, creates space for new energy to come in after that. And this is what I want to show you. So this is our big climax. This is our big, wonderful thing to focus on. So in 2030, we are going to experience a planetary cycle between Mars and Venus. So each time Mars and Venus join together, it takes 2 years for them to develop this planetary cycle relationship. So between 2030 and 2032, we are going to have a Mars-Venus planetary cycle. And get this, look where it begins, 23 degrees of Cancer. So this is just 3 degrees away from the Cazimi position from all these different planetary cycles in 2019 and 2028. And so between August 5th, 2030 and June 22nd, 2032, we are going to be in a cycle of love and relationships that we've been building up to since 2019. So now you see why I'm posting yet another video, because I want you to be aware of this timeline, because I think it's very, very powerful. And tomorrow's Cazimi on July 12th is at the center of it. So what do we do with the Cazimi so that we can take advantage of this? Pay attention what you're told, follow your mind, understand where your mind is going and what you're thinking, accept new ideas that are coming into your mind. If people in your family reach out to you for a reconnection, whether it's blood family or other types of family members, give it consideration if you feel it's appropriate. Call your mother. That's my message for you under this transit. Reach out to your mom unless it's inappropriate, and just make it a habit of really focusing your attention on July 12th to really understand what is happening. This is a great day to focus on journaling activities, which means track the pattern of all the events that I mentioned in today's video and see what happened in your life in the years we've discussed. I know we're talking about the future, but this is an ongoing project. So you can create for yourself a little folder and keep your notes there. You can look back to 2019, write about 2026, and in 2028, you can go back to that and say, this is happening for me and that's happening for me. And in 2028, we'll make a video and we'll continue following what's happening. Okay? So sorry if this is a little detail oriented, but I think it needs to be so that everybody's on the same page. But I'm really excited about this Cazimi. It's a really beautiful part of Mercury Retrograde. Now, this was supposed to be an even bigger video. Mercury Retrograde this year is a big deal, but I broke up the whole video. It was supposed to be an all sign, but I ran out of time, and now we have the new moon coming, so I have to giddy up and get it done. But this whole Mercury Retrograde is magical. It's wonderful. And I'm going to do a part 2, which is likely going to be an all sign video. And in part 2, I will explain to you more magic of this. So if I haven't convinced you here yet, then wait for the part 2 of this video in which we talk about the rest of this Mercury retrograde and why it's so darn special, okay? If you want me to write this down somewhere and write an article, then let me know in the description down below. I'll try to get one done for you, okay? So let's switch over to Lenormand. Okay, so let's do a bit of a Lenormand reading. Yesterday I did a Lenormand reading for the members, and I know some of you who love Lenormand are not members, so I thought I would make a video for you as well. I was really happy to read the deck. I really like this type of reading, so let's take a look at what the Mercury Sun Cazimi has to say. Okay, so we have the rider first. So there's some new information coming in under this Mercury Cazimi that's important for us to know. There's a dog. So a message is being given to a friend, or some information is coming to you through a friend, or a friend is bringing you information. Then we have, secret. So the tea is hot, right? So there's information coming to you about circumstances. It's likely that it's been a secret or otherwise hidden before now. Let's see what else we know. Then we have the coffin. It puts an end to something. So it puts an end to a situation. Intuitively, I feel like it puts an end to an ongoing situation in which there was some significant back and forth. And there's already a sense, before you find out this information, that there's tension in the situation. So it's just some kind of confirmation on what's been going on. So let's see the next card. We have the clouds. This really helps to improve your circumstances. If you have been experiencing some kind of block or some kind of obstruction with regard to your life and moving forward, and especially in the theme of family, then there's some clarity coming in. So overall, this looks actually really wonderful. It looks like there's something that's been stopping you. A secret is going to come to an end, and its clarification is going to bring light to a situation, which will allow you to move forward. Let's see the next message. We have the garden. The person who's coming in is coming from a very good background, or they're in a very good situation. So this person either has a lot of resources or has a comfortable life, and they're not coming in with any bad intentions. It's more like a value that they are pursuing. We have the path, number 22. I think the friend they had a couple different options what to do with the situation. Keep it quiet or share. I don't get the feeling that this is going to be information that's going to be unwelcome or heavily disturbing. I think this information, like I said, is going to be a confirmation on some things you already knew about a situation. This can also be involving clarifying and restoring like the dignity of someone in your eyes. So if there was some kind of miscommunication about who said what to who, because I'm thinking of family scenarios of what could be happening with these cards. Families can become very insular, and communication can cause a lot of mishaps between people. So the information that could be coming in could actually be helping someone understand the truth about someone. So rather than cutting a person out, they could be bringing someone back in and improving a relationship. We'll see in the next card. Then we have owls. I think this deck has 2 sets of bird cards. This is like wisdom. Someone could be speaking with someone who has age and experience in a situation. So someone with wisdom, possibly someone who's older, could be bringing light to a situation and their powerful insight. And then we have love, or the heart. I always call it the love card. It is the love card. That's what it represents. So there could be someone who has wisdom, that's the owls, is participating in the sharing of information. And this is elevating a situation or resurrecting it from a place where it was gone or done to something more positive or alive and restored. Here is the next card. We have the other birds. So I don't know if you come from a gossipy family or if people in your family talk with each other a lot, but there could be like this feels to me like the news spreads really quickly. So this is like telling like an older aunt or someone who's older about your situation and then providing guidance or information. This is almost like your cousins gossiping about something and it's sort of getting out of control. Here is the next card. We have the bear. There's definitely someone who's watching out over the situation. They want to make sure that what's fair is done. There could be a female, although I read the bear as masculine as well. There could be a very protective figure who's very focused on what's true and what's right beyond what politics between people require or want. Here is the next card. We have the child. The decision that the friend is making could be involving a child, and that could have been a part of the decision-making process. Then we have the tower, and this isn't like tarot, right? This is business and work. This owl person is very connected and they have some kind of a stately or important position. Then we have the lilies. An older person this could be actually concerning an older person where they are being brought back into the fold on a situation. Their situation at work is improving. And then we have luck. So yeah, I felt right away that this gossip was not of the bad variety. Like I said, cousins or maybe people your own age gossiping. I think that this is leading to like breaking the curse of a hidden secret or a hidden piece of information. And when I say curse, I mean that metaphorically. I mean, within a family, sometimes people talk and they sort of problematize a situation. And then it's like time passes and it's hard to address the issue. So people lose track of things, but the consequences remain. This is what it feels like an outstanding issue that became misrepresented intentionally or not intentionally is now being clarified. Somebody's position is being restored. It's likely an older person, and there's luck attached to all of that. Very, very nice energy. Here is the next message. We have the bridge. There's this person. This is, I think, this person. The dog goes with the rider. And then the bear goes with the bridges and the garden, in my opinion. This person, whoever your mind thinks of when I'm pointing to them, this person's really special. They're the type of person who watches out for everyone. And if this is the person that I'm thinking of in your family, this is a person who should be treated like gold by everyone. This is a deeply caring person who thinks of everyone. So this is the glue that binds the family together. Whoever this is, really, I get goosebumps just thinking about them. They seem like very nice, very solid, and very fair. They don't act based upon preferences. They love everyone and they want to see everyone be successful. So they're the ultimate judge or the ultimate arbiter within a family because they're not like, oh, I like this cousin more or I like this person more, so I'll play favorites. This is a person who keeps the family sane and keeps the family fair between all the internal politics. So this person is bringing some kind of new path into the direction. Then we have the clock. Okay, so the clock suggests that there's like a timeline involved in this, and intuitively I feel like the timeline that we're talking about here is more like, rather than urgency, patience. This reminds me of our timelines that we saw in the astrology, specifically like 2028, 2030, 2032. I feel like the child could be a literal child, someone who is going to reach maturity by those years. So there's like the need to wait, the need to, there's a path ahead for the child that the bear is assuring will happen. Some things in this family are going to take time. Okay, so here is the next message. Then we have the spyglass. This person has the owls, I think, is a person, and I think that they have something going on at work that requires a lot of attention. They don't have a lot of time for their family right now, but they're happy to be there in a limited amount of times or when people really need them. When they look a little bit closer at their career, there's a situation in their career that they need to take a little bit closer of a look at, so they don't really have like the mental capacity to be focused on family, but they do step in. They're definitely stepping in on behalf of this older family member. So expect this person moving forward to continue to be busy, but it's not because they're negligent. It's because the book could be with them as well. They could have like a very serious, very mentally involved job. They could be like a professor, doctor, lawyer. I'm getting like highly educated person, maybe a government official, some kind of person whose work requires them to be mentally present almost 100% of the time. But they take a break to help in this situation and to give guidance, maybe by the phone, if only, but they're now aware of what happened. It looks like there was a misrepresentation of someone that caused them to be displaced and maybe not completely cut off from these people, but maybe emotionally disconnected. Okay, so then we see the compass. So things start flowing together in a specific direction. I feel like this has been really weighing on someone a lot, this Lily's person. And I feel like this is a moment of liberation for them. So having their name vindicated or being absolved. Then we have the cross. This is a turn of really good luck. The clover. It's kind of an emancipatory, like freedom is coming into this situation. But the cross is reminding us that regardless if there's freedom, there's still a lot of things that all these people will need to do. There's still a lot ahead of them to figure things out. And just this feels like work, chores, responsibilities. Let's do one more row. We have the man. Finally, we have an actual person. But I'm pretty sure that the rider and the dog, I think, is the same person. The bear is the one person. The owls is a person. Lilies is a person. And this is like a group of people, the birds. Like I said, cousins or something. Oh, and the child is a person. But they're like a secondary character. I think it probably is actually a literal child. Okay, so the bear might have a child. And if they do, then the child is a son. And there's things concerning the son that the bear must arrange. The other thing that I'm getting from this connection is that the bear herself, specifically, if it's a female, might be on a path to a relationship. So that relationship may not be so strong right now, or it may not be like a partnership yet, but energetically she's moving towards like a very serious relationship. That's what I'm getting. So either her attention is shifting to taking care of a adult male child, or there's a love interest or a partnership ahead of her that's going to take her attention in the future in a new direction, which makes me really happy because I do get the sense that she or he takes care of everyone else. So this feels like they're going to get something now, something nice. Okay, let's see the next message. We have I love this card in this deck. So we have the maze. Yeah, with this, there's definitely things to work out. This is almost like trying to figure out custody issues or where a child will go to school or like the future of a child. Those kinds of questions might be being asked. So what the maze to me symbolizes that there's still things being worked out. There's the other man. The two men are talking and they're working things out. Now this could be the owl, the other man. Although before I felt the owl was a woman, I always associate owls with women because of Inanna. Inanna is associated with the owl in ancient myth, but it could be either or. But it could be the person becoming free down the road, like free of time and free to be present. And then there's communication between two men to figure things out. It feels like if they do have to communicate, there's some kind of conflict between them, like a many-year conflict. They could be brothers or they could be other relations. Okay, so let's see the next message. We have the mountain. Now, this is interesting. In the Lenormand reading last night for members, we got the last card was the mountain, and now this is the second to last card that we're going to do today. And again, there's something ahead, a big journey, some kind of challenge. So that message is confirmed again. And the last card today is the fox. Okay, I'm not going to leave you guys on the fox. Well, this is symbolizing that ahead of the people involved here, there's some kind of very challenging, competitive, possibly, aspect to their journey. Some or a few of them may be involved in a situation with very cunning people. This is a whole new thing that's beginning. It involves money and it involves success. So it's not about defending your ground, but more trying to reach for more, which is the mountain. It's going in a new direction. And this could involve this man. That's what it makes me feel like. There's new prospects, new career goals, new opportunities, but there's a fox involved. This means someone in the family or in the network of people may have gone ahead and they have wisdom about everything that's been going on. On the bottom, let's just look to see key. So this whole situation is opening up a whole network of people and situations, relationships. Maybe even this is you. And I love foxes, so it's hard for me in the Lenormand to read them as a negative. So for me, the fox is cunning, wisdom. In Polish, the word is spryt, which is like cunning. It's basically being able to figure out situations, understand who's who and what's what in a situation. And I get the sense that they're moving on. It's like maybe this isn't all happening to you, but within your family. And this person saw everything transpire. They saw things work out, but then they also understand that like the makeup of people, it's just going to come up again in a different way in the future. So they may be going off in a different direction. So once the situation is resolved and settled, the fox, and if this is you, they may be beginning a new journey, a new direction, but it's with a very peaceful kind of mindset, like glad that it all worked out and now I'll begin this new path. But this opens all sorts of new possibilities for the people involved here. This is definitely about like resolving some kind of block or something that had stopped for a period of time due to communication. So that communication that had like a endpoint because of miscommunication or disinformation is going to get resolved. And I think that once that does, then there's freedom of movements. People start thinking, see, in this last row, I think these are all people, all three of these cards. And suddenly they have freedom of movement to change and grow and go in different directions. And the fox is really interesting to me. It's like, if this is you, it's like the fox is saying, ha, I know. Like, finally, I know, which means that here at the beginning, the fox didn't know. So you're about to hear some kind of big secret, have an insight on a situation in which the fact that you didn't know, the fact you didn't have that information, held you back. So I see this kind of emancipation through knowing the truth. I just want to pull an extra card. Let's see, unless it's negative. So we have, we'll pull another one, but we have the Hanged Man. So that's super interesting. There's like delays due to control of information. The information wasn't shared clearly or through negligence or being busy, or information held people back. Here is the next message. We have the Queen of Pentacles. This could be involving a Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn, or a Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. This could be a man or a woman. There's definitely like withholding of information. Maybe this is the person who withheld information. Just to clarify, I just don't want to end on like a question mark. And for me, this keeps on saying these are the people involved. Knight of Pentacles, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. So this is involving a bunch of earth signs from the looks of it. And then we have the Six of Pentacles, which is what I'm happy to end on. This could be a financial issue. And so finally, ultimately, the financial issue will be resolved and everybody's going to be compensated fairly. So let's leave it on that because that feels settled. Hopefully this gave you insight into your situation. Pick and choose what resonates and what doesn't. I'll catch you next time and enjoy the Cazimi tomorrow. Okay? We still have the new moon and then we're through this very active week of astrology aspects. Take care. Bye.